Good morning, Standard 9 students. Today I shall continue with Act 1, Scene 1. Okay. But now you've got to listen to this explanation very carefully and understand. Okay. I will go very slow also. Now Celerino says, my wind cooling my broth. When he says my wind cooling my broth, it means that when my broth can either be hot porridge or hot soup. So when I have to consume it, it is too hot. So what do? Is I blow into my soup or into my broth until it becomes cool. Now what he meant to say was that the breath or the wind from my mouth, though it is a gentle blow, just a gentle blow, that has the power to cool a hot substance. Even a gentle blow or a gentle wind from my mouth is very powerful. It has got the strength, the power to cool a hot substance. Okay. Says, now when I think about the power from my mouth that cools my broth, would blow me to an ague. So then I would begin to tremble, to shiver, through fear, that when I thought what harm a wind too great at sea might do. So now I could imagine, or when I begin to imagine, that when a gentle blow from my mouth can cool a hot substance, it is so powerful. Can you imagine what damage a strong wind or a storm, a great storm, would do at the sea or in the ocean? So he's comparing the power of a gentle blow, which has got the power to cool a hot substance. Then you can imagine the strength and the power of a great storm. What power that storm must be having. So he says, when I think about the destruction, the damage the strong wind can do, it makes my body to shiver, to tremble. Now ague means when a person shivers or trembles due to fever. Usually malaria has got this symptoms. Okay. So they call it ague. So he says, now can you imagine, it blows him into an ague. He starts shivering and trembling when he can imagine the destruction a strong wind can do to a ship. Okay. Then I should not see the sandy hourglass run. So the next, he says, I don't want to see the sand in the sandy hourglass. Now this is a glass tube. Okay. It has got sand on the top part of it. And there is a small hole which makes the sand trickle down. Now why is the sandy hourglass used? In those days, during the 15th and 16th century, watches were not yet invented. So people would look at the time or guess the time by looking at the position of the sun, and then they would use a sandy hourglass. So when the top portion empties out and fills the bottom one, then 1 hour is passed. So this is the measurement of 1 hour. After 1 hour, again they turn this, then again they allow the sand to fall, and that is how they measure the number of hours in a day. Okay? But here we are not talking about the hours, we are talking about the sand. Here we are talking about the sand that is there in the sandy hourglass. Now what does the sand represent? Okay, I should not see the sandy hourglass run. Means he does not want to see the sand in the sandy hourglass. It reminds him of shallows and of flats. So it reminds him of the shallow seas, which is dangerous for the ship. The ship needs depth. And shallow seas means it is very dangerous for the ships. Okay? And see my wealthy Andrew docked in sand. Okay? It says, now when I look at the sand, it reminds me of the shallow sea waters. Okay? Which will destroy my ship. Now Andrew is a name commonly used for ships that don't have a name. Like when we talk about the sinking of the Titanic. So the name of that ship was Titanic, means huge, colossal, gigantic. Okay. So here what we are talking about is the sand which is present in the shallow seas, which is dangerous for the ship. Now the ship that we are talking about here is an imaginary ship, okay, which we have named Andrew. Now Andrew is a common name given to any ship which does not have a name. Okay. So now this is an imaginary ship by the name of Andrew. It has got nothing to do with Antonio's ship. Okay, there is no connection between this wealthy Andrew. Wealthy Andrew is only an imaginary ship. He is only imagining that in the shallow seas, when a ship will bang against the shallow seas, then what will happen? Excuse me. The topmost portion of the ship, that will bend down first. That will topple over. The topmost portion, when the ship bangs, then the topmost portion will turn towards the downward side. Okay. So while the topmost portion is reaching the sea waters, the ribs, which is being referred over here, is the middle portion of the ship, that will also rise up. Okay, that means head down. The ship will go head down, and the topmost part will kiss her burial, means will kiss the bottom of the sea first. So that is how a shallow sea or flat land is dangerous for the ships. So he is giving an example. Now this wealthy Andrew, I told you, it is an imaginary name of a ship. Any ship with no name, they refer it to as Andrew. Okay, so it is a common name for ships that doesn't have a name. Anonymous ships. Okay. So that is what he says. I don't want to see the sand, because the sand reminds me of how my ship will be wrecked and how the topmost portion of my ship will kiss the burial ground. Then he says, should I go to church? and see the holy edifice of stone. He says, now when I go to the church, then what do I see? How the church has been built. The church has been built on rocks and huge stones. Okay. So when I see those big rocks and stones in the church, it reminds me of the dangerous rocks that are present in the sea and in the ocean. So when I go to a church and I see those big huge rocks and stones, reminds me of the dangerous rocks that are present in the sea and in the ocean. Now even a gentle touch, a slight touch of my ship, it will touch these dangerous rocks. Then it will smash my ship. And all the spices and all the goods, all the things that are there in the ship, that will be scattered and it will be floating on the surface of the sea waters. Okay. For some time you will find all the fragments and broken pieces and spices and goods floating, and then the silk sail will come and cover up all those broken pieces, and then it will sink. Means it as if the waves or the sea water is swallowing everything inside. Okay. So now then he says, my ship, within a minute, it was worth $1 million. Means it was a worthy ship. It was of great use. Okay. It was very beneficial. In an instant, after it bangs against the dangerous rocks, then the same ship becomes useless, worthless. Okay. It says, now, only when I see my ship in that condition, obviously, I will feel very, very sad. Thinking that in an instant my ship was worth $1 million, now it is worth nothing. So now I think Antonio is sad because of his merchandise. Okay, now this is a concrete reason, a concrete possible reason for why Antonio is sad. So now because of the risk of the strong winds, shallow waters, or sand, and the dangerous rocks. They could be detrimental or fatal or dangerous to the ship. So I think therefore Antonio is sad because of his merchandise, the loss of his goods or the loss of his ship. So that is the reason why he finds out that this could be the possible reason for Antonio's sadness. Because when he thinks about the strong winds destroying the ships, maybe the shallow sea waters, or maybe the dangerous rocks, so they assume that this could be one of the reasons that has made Antonio very sad. The next video recording will be based on how Antonio rebukes this remark and how he denies the fact that he is not sad because of his merchandise. So the next class I will explain the remaining part of the lesson. Okay. Now I will be sending some notes in your WhatsApp group because the workbooks are not available. So in the meantime, in your literature copy, I will send you question number 1 and question number 2. How much I taught, that much of question and answers I shall be sending you in the WhatsApp group. Thank you.